Niner fans, it's about that time. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And once again, Niner Empire, it's a pleasure to be in front of the best fans in the NFL. The Niner Empire, the faithful. As you can tell, I'm really geeked up about the schedule. I'm glad it finally came out. We're still obviously months away from the football season, but it was glad to see on paper who our opponents will be, what weeks, when our bye week is, how many primetime games we have. Very excited to talk about the schedule with you guys today. We'll also talk about the mini camp, but this show is nothing without the faithful. I want to see you guys in the comments section. Also, shout out to everyone watching on the Spotlight Sports Network. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Jay in the Bay on YouTube. Check me out on IG and Twitter. And I appreciate everyone for coming through. And first, I got to talk about my first impressions of the 49ers schedule. Now, obviously, this is a historic season, basically because this is the first season in the NFL where there's actually, there's 18 games in a season. That's one thing. Also, we have the 49ers play 17 games, as long as the other teams as well. But, the 49ers got the short end of the stick. We have to play 8 home games and 9 away games. That's definitely something that stood out to me. I guess the good thing is we don't have to fly, all the way to London. So that is a plus. And also our bye week. Our bye week is only in week 6. We've only played, 5 games up to that point. I would have loved it if we could have got that bye week, in week 10, maybe week 11. But, sometimes you can't always get what you want, and I'm sure the 49ers will pull through. But first, let's holler at everyone in them comments. Let's see. First, I believe the first comment was Matt Navarro. What's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream. Appreciate you coming on, man. Looks like we also have Steven. What's good? Steven says, hey there at Jay in the Bay. What was your reaction to 49ers versus Titans on week 16, Thursday night football? I appreciate you coming through, Steven. And I know you're a Titans fan. I can't wait till we have this game. We're definitely going to do a video together, I'm sure, talking about the 49ers and Titans. I'm excited for the matchup. I wish it would have been on a Sunday, a Thursday night game. They may be fun to watch, especially at the beginning of the year, but towards the end of the season, everyone's, tired from the previous, 4 weeks of the season. And, usually the Thursday night games aren't that good towards the end of the season. Hopefully, both our teams will be in contention for the playoffs, but it'll be a short week for both teams. And I believe the week 16 game, it is a few days before Christmas, I think. So that's something else to look forward to. But I'm happy for the game. I can't wait to face off against the Titans. The Titans, they got Derrick Henry. He could definitely tote that rock. One of the best running backs in the NFL for sure. He'll definitely give us a huge test when we play you guys. And also Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown. The offense is good. Defense is solid as well. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup. Steven, what do you think of the game Thursday night, week 16 against the Niners? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Seahawks TV, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And, of course, all fans of the NFL are welcome. It doesn't matter which team you like. Everyone is welcome here. But, of course, I got to represent the red and gold. Y'all know it. Let's see who else is in here. Let's see. Derpy Boy, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Derpy. Appreciate you coming through. Hope you enjoy the show. And that was my first reaction to the schedule, was that, there was 18 weeks in the schedule, 17 games. And, we have 8 home games, 9 away games. But also, we got 5 primetime games, And I'm sure you guys know the primetime games are usually reserved for, the better teams in the NFL. And clearly, the NFL feels that we're one of the better teams. And, our first primetime game, week 3, that's going to be the home opener at Levi Stadium. I can't wait, going up against the Green Bay Packers. And this is an interesting game, not only because it's our home opener, it's our first primetime game, but also, the status of Aaron Rodgers. Who knows if he's still going to be, a Green Bay Packers. Who knows if he's still going to be a part of the Green Bay Packers organization. It seems like he's hell-bent on getting out of Green Bay. So if he gets traded away, that would make the game that more interesting because we would be facing, Jordan Love. So that would be interesting. Also, week 7, we have a Sunday night game against the Indianapolis Colts, and that's also a home game. And DeForest Buckner will be coming back to play against the Niners at Levi Stadium. That's going to be an intriguing matchup. Our offensive line, Alex Mack, Lincoln Tomlinson, Aaron Banks going up against, DeForest Buckner. So that's going to be an intriguing matchup. I can't wait for that. Let's jump back into these comments. Let's see. 49ers Nation, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. 49ers Nation says, do you think Kyle would have Jimmy start week 1 and play 2 quarters, then have Trey play the other 2 and do that until the bye week, then have Trey be the full-time starter if he plays good? Well, that's an intriguing question, 49ers Nation. I feel Jimmy G, that's my quarterback. Jimmy G will be the starter, barring injury, unless Trey Lance looks, superior to Jimmy G in training camp and in preseason, and he forces Shanahan's hand. I mean, that's the only way I feel Trey Lance will start. I didn't think of your scenario before. What I had thought of was maybe Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers use Trey Lance like the Saints used Taysom Hill, where, last year and the years prior, Drew Brees would play like 95% of the snaps at quarterback. On certain downs, Drew Brees would come out of the game. Taysom Hill would line up at quarterback and provide like a dual threat, run pass option. I think maybe Shanahan will use him in that manner. Like, that would be interesting because let's be real. Of course, Trey Lance will be the more exciting player because we haven't seen him yet. He's a dual threat option at the quarterback position. He can do it all. He can scramble. He can make plays with his legs. So obviously that's going to be more exciting. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll be better than Jimmy. So if I had my druthers, Jimmy G would start the entire season and Jimmy G would play healthy. Jimmy G would come into training camp with a fire lit under him. He would ball out because Jimmy G's playing for his NFL future. And then we move off of Jimmy in the offseason. That's what I hope happens. But unfortunately, Jimmy G has been hurt 2 of the last 3 years. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if the team is winning, if the 49ers have a winning record, I just don't see I should say if the team has a winning record and Jimmy G is playing well, I just don't see them benching, Jimmy G for Trey Lance. I just don't see it. 49, but excellent question, 49ers Nation. I appreciate the question. 49ers Ultimate Report, what's good? Thanks for coming on to the stream. 49ers Ultimate Report says, what's good? Everyone hit them likes and get Jay intheBay to 700 subs. He's only 10 subs away. I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support. 49ers Ultimate Report. And let's see, Steven says, I have to say week 16 might be a sneak peek that Titans may face against Trey Lance if Jimmy G slips up. I mean, we got Zach Wilson. We also have Trevor Lawrence twice. Also could get Mac Jones week 12. Yeah, that's very interesting. The Titans could get, all those rookie quarterbacks. But I think if Jimmy G plays well, if Jimmy G plays well and the Niners have a winning record, I just don't see them I just don't see Shanahan benching Jimmy G for Trey Lance. I just don't see it. The only way I see it is if Jimmy gets hurt, Trey Lance would most likely come in. or if Jimmy G, isn't playing well and he's benched for, bad performances. But it's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting season because as soon as Jimmy G struggles, people are gonna be saying, "Hey, bring in Trey Lance." But I feel like we've got 2 games going back to the schedule. We have 2 games, going up against the Detroit Lions. We've played, our defense has played pretty well against Jared Goff in the past. The Lions have a new head coach, new GM. So I'm not going to say it's a cupcake game, but, there's no doubt that the Niners are more talented than the Detroit Lions. So that should be a good game for Jimmy G to get comfortable and, get his confidence back. And then also going up against the Eagles, even though the Eagles did beat us last year, we were banged up last year, but the Eagles, I feel like we're better than the Eagles as well on paper. So we should start the season 2-0, I feel. Let's see. Raul Talk Sports. What's good? Thanks for coming into the stream. He says SF should be one of the best again. No, I agree. I don't want to say this too much, because any team that loses their starting quarterback, loses their best defensive player, loses multiple players on both sides of the ball, they're not going to do well in the season. The expectations for them will definitely decrease if they're faced with those odds of, 10 plus players on the IR one time. But, the division is definitely tough. But I feel like we will definitely bounce back from last year. That's for sure. Raul Talk Sports says, I think Jimmy G starts. Yeah, I think so too. Jimmy G knows the playbook. I've heard that Trey Lance is picking up the plays, but, he hasn't played against NFL talent yet. It's interesting. If people out there know about baseball, there's 3 different levels of baseball before you get to the pros. There's single A, there's double A, there's triple A, and then you get to the major league level. Now, to compare that to Trey Lance has basically played, you could say, on a double A level in college because he didn't play at one of the bigger universities. He didn't play against the best talent on defense. So now some people want Trey Lance to come in and start over Jimmy, and he's only used to playing against double A talent. If a baseball player is in double A and he gets promoted to the major league levels, do you really think he's going to be successful? You really think he's good enough to skip past the triple A to get to the major leagues? I mean, that's saying a lot. That rarely happens. So I just want to see Trey Lance learn the playbook, get comfortable with that, get used to playing against NFL defensive lines, NFL linebackers, NFL secondary. And, I just want to take our time with Trey Lance. There's no need for him to start. Jimmy G has done it at a high level. And unless Jimmy G gets hurt or he just looks terrible, which I don't think will happen, then I think we'll see Trey Lance. Corey Davis, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. So it looks like we got one more person that says Jimmy G should start. No, I agree. There's no need to rush Trey Lance. Looks like Derpy Boy says Demadori Lenore, our cornerback, is doing well in camp. So do you think he'll be a starter or second string? Yeah, he did excellent in camp. I'm sure everyone has seen by now the play with Lenore where he's going up against Austin Walter Jr., the wide receiver who is undrafted. He was going up against him in camp on Friday, and he did an excellent job. Lenore did in bump and run coverage. He was using his arm to get his hands receiver within that first 5 yards, which is something you can do. And he made a great play by anticipating and catching the ball at the highest point, and he got an interception. So Lenore looked excellent. But we'll see. Let's see what he does against the Ayuk show. Let's see what he does against Brandon Ayuk. Let's see what he does against, Deebo Samuel and, a little bit more experienced receivers. I know they're only in their, second and third year respectively, but let's see how he does. But he looks promising. He definitely looks promising. That's for sure. Do I think he'll start? No, I don't think he'll start over Mosley or Verrett unless there's an injury. And yeah, he could be, second or third string. That's what I feel. Looks like Steven says at Jay in the Bay, you and all the 49ers fans start the first 2 weeks of the NFL as Tennessee Titans fans since we got Arizona Cardinals week 1 and go to Seattle week 2. Woo! Titans got a tough stretch out the gate, man. I mean, I'm sure obviously you guys are going to lean on Derrick Henry. But yeah, that's a tough two first games of the season. Arizona Cardinals at home and then Seattle on the road. Like, yeah, that's pretty tough start. I'm sure you're hoping for at least 1-1. You definitely don't want to start the season 0-2. That's for sure. Raul Talk Sports says the NFC West is going to be a bloodbath. Nah, I agree, man. NFC West is crazy. Every team got better on both sides of the ball. In the offseason, through the draft, through free agency. So it's definitely going to be a tough games we play this year for sure. Definitely going back to the schedule. I mentioned we've got 5 primetime games. The first one, week 3 against the Packers. The second one is week 7 against the Colts, the return of DeForest Buckner. Now, the third one going up against division rival LA Rams. That's going to be your Monday Night Football prime time. I can't wait for that game. That's going to be our third primetime game of the year. That's going to be an excellent game. Also, week 13 at Seattle, Sunday Night Football. That's going to be an excellent game. And then week 16 at the Tennessee Titans, Thursday Night Football game. I believe that's a few days before Christmas, and it's going to be on a short week since it's a Thursday night game. But those are some of the things that stood out to me about this season, the 5 primetime games. And it could be more. Who knows what happens, at the last week of the season. I think we play. I forgot who we played the last game of the season. It's the Rams. The Rams we played it. So that game could be flexed to a Sunday night game. So that could happen in week 18 against the Rams, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. What are you guys' reaction to the 49ers schedule? What do you guys think of the opponents we'll face? What do you guys think our record will be in the division? We got 6 games, obviously 2 against the Cardinals, 2 against the Seahawks, 2 against the Rams. I feel like those could be some of our toughest games in our division. Those teams will definitely give us a lot of trouble. Looks like the 49ers Nation says we should have a top 5 defense this season. I agree. I mean, I don't think it'll be as good as the 2019 season. But I think it all depends on the pass rush. The pass rush helps the entire, all 3 levels of the defense. If the pass rush gets to the quarterback within, 3 to 4 seconds, it helps the secondary cover less. And I think it's going to be all upon that pass rush. We have to be able to get, adequate pass rush. Who knows what we'll get from D Ford this year. Hopefully he can just be like a third down pass rush specialist. Nick Bosa is coming off of a torn ACL. If it was me, I'd want to ease him back in, and then we got to get a big year from Samson Ibuka. And then also with Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead has to step up and, get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Travis the Third Berg, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. It's like Corey Davis says, we Niners empire, not a nation. I agree with that. We are the Niner empire. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the nation is the Raider nation. That's what I've heard. The Raiders are the Raider nation, and the Niners are the Niner empire. Travis the Third Berg says, don't forget to like the stream. Exactly. I appreciate you guys leaving a thumbs up for the stream. And everyone that's watching on the Spotlight Sports Network, I appreciate you as well. And yeah, go ahead, leave your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about the schedule. And let's see, let's get to our next comment. OYG, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says we are top 3 on defense, bro. I mean, I think on paper, we are, I would say on paper, we're definitely top 10, but let's see when the games play. Let's see how the pass rush is. Let's see, if our corners can stay healthy. But yeah, I think we're definitely top 10 for sure. And let's just see how they are when the games play. 49ers Ultimate Report says, Jay, in a former high school and junior college baseball, I disagree. I coach high school players. It's not the same with college football to NFL players. Okay, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion, but there's different levels. Obviously, baseball. Some would say baseball is much harder sport than football, but there's a reason why they have single A, double A, triple A. There's a reason why, because you usually have to level up to get to the MLB. And most players in college, they don't make it to the NFL, or if they do, they're just not that good because only the elite of the elite are successful in the NFL. And some Trey could come in, light the world on fire, be great, be better than Jimmy G. That's possible. But I feel, and I think you feel this way as well, there's no need to rush Trey now. If he looks significantly better than Jimmy in practice, training camp, and preseason, then Kyle Shanahan will have a difficult decision on his hand, because if you put Trey in and he struggles, what is everyone going to say? Oh, he shouldn't have been picked number 3 overall. Oh, he garbage. The same thing they're saying about Tua Tagovailoa in South Beach. The same thing they're saying about him right now, they would say about Trey. And I just feel like there's no need to rush Trey. Put Jimmy in, unless Jimmy falls flat on his face, which he hasn't really done. He hasn't fallen flat on his face in his career with the Niners. So put Jimmy in, let him start, and Jimmy should give Kyle Shanahan a reason to take him out the game, and then we'll see what happens. Looks like Raul, we got our first prediction of the show. Raul thinks the 49ers will go 11-6. Okay. That is a good record. That's around what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe 11-6, 12-5. On the high end, I would say 12-5. And then on the low end, 11-6. But that's a good conservative prediction. I like it. I heard about this too, Travis, that Giants signing Kelvin Benjamin to play tight end. Yeah, Benjamin has been out of the league for a few years. And, he has some solid years with Cam Newton with the Carolina Panthers. And then I believe he got cut from the Panthers and he signed with the Bills, but he didn't really do much with the Bills. So, he was having trouble, staying in shape in Carolina. So maybe going to tight end would be good. Let's see if he can block. Can he block? I mean, I know he's a big guy, but yeah, I think maybe he'll be pretty good at tight end. He knows how to run routes. He knows how to play a receiver, and that's half of what a tight end has to do. So let's see if he can actually block. But though he's got to now he's going to have to block defensive ends, things like that. So we'll see how he does in those situations. Derpy Boy, he says, what are your thoughts on Tim Tebow playing tight end with the Jags? You talking about the man that's been out of football for like 6 years? I mean, sometimes in life, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. Obviously, Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow have a relationship. Tim Tebow was Tim Tebow's he's arguably the best college quarterback ever. And, he played under Urban Meyer at Florida. And, obviously they have a relationship. And I'm sure Tebow said, hey, give me a shot. Let me try out. I'll play tight end. I just want to get back on the football field. And Urban Meyer is giving him a shot. We'll see if he makes the 53-man roster. I mean, I think Tebow is 33. So, we'll see what he can do. I think he should have played, tight end earlier in his career, and he probably would still be in the NFL because he is athletic. He can run, but he is older now. So I'd be surprised if he made the 53-man roster. I'd be surprised by that. Looks like OYG says, I'm just trying to smack them Seahawks. No, I hear you, man. Our division is going to be tough. Seattle obviously got the best quarterback in the division, Russ Wilson. So it's definitely going to be intriguing. I'm glad one of our games are on prime time, and I can't wait. Looks like Raul says, I think they're going 3-3 in the division. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because when I was looking at the schedule today and I was looking at, okay, this should be a win, this should be a loss, this should be a win, this should be a loss. I thought the Seahawks would definitely give us the most trouble in the division. And I was thinking, honestly, the Niners would probably go about 2-4 in the division. And I think our two losses or two of the four losses would be against the Seahawks. I think they just present a lot of problems to us. You know, they have two of the best wide receivers. Forget about the division in the NFL and DK and Tyler Baldwin. So obviously there'll be close games, but I wouldn't be surprised if, the Seahawks get two up on us. And then we split one game with Arizona and one game with the LA Rams. But that's me being conservative. And I think the Niners, will be 12-5. And leave your predictions on the schedule. Let me know what you guys think. The Niners, how many wins and losses you guys think the Niners will have this season? And I think we'll go 12-5 this year. Looks like Raul says, I think D Ford would get like 6.5 sacks. That would be great if he could. We just don't know the status of D Ford. He played, a handful of snaps last year, and then he was out the rest of the year due to the injury. So we'll see. We'll see what D Ford can bring to the table. But, Lynch did an excellent job of adding depth to the defensive end position, getting Arden Key, getting Samson Ibukum, and of course we got Eric Armstead there. I feel like we should get another veteran pass rusher. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I feel like, Justin Houston is still out there. Ryan Kerrigan is still out there. At least bring them in for a workout. I think that could, do wonders for us. And it would take pressure off guys like Bosa and Ford. Looks like Steven says, I appreciate all the comments, man. Appreciate you. And everyone else in the stream for leaving those comments. Looks like Steven says the Colts also have two NFC West opponents the first 2 weeks. Colts host Seattle and the Rams. So you need either Titans or Colts to beat Seattle. Titans over Cardinals and Colts over Rams. Yeah, I will definitely be rooting for the Titans when you guys play our NFC West opponents. You can definitely rest assured that I'll definitely be rooting for you guys against the Cardinals and the Rams and the Seahawks as well. I will definitely be doing that. Let's see. Snacks. First time I've seen you in the stream. What's good? Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you for coming on. Snacks says, who is your favorite player on the Niners now? And do you like another player from another team? I would say, let's see. My favorite player on the Niners. That would be the Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk is my favorite player on the Niners. I would say offensively. Defensively, my favorite player, I would say Fred Warner. He kind of came out of nowhere out of BYU. And also his brothers in the NFL, which is pretty cool too. But yeah, I would say the Brandon Ayuk and Fred Warner are probably my favorite players. And no, I don't have a favorite player on another team. Looks like Derpy Boy says DeForest Buckner better sack Wilson in week 1. I know, right? Hopefully. It's like it's Golden Grizz. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I wanted to, obviously this show, we're definitely talking about the schedule. Make sure you guys leave your win-loss predictions in the comment section. I appreciate it. But I wanted to go over the schedule. So week 1 at Detroit, that should be a win. We're definitely better on paper than the Detroit Lions. Week 2, we have to travel again to Philly. And it's interesting. I wonder if we'll stay on the East Coast after the Lions game, because either that or we would have to travel back to the West Coast, then fly back to the game for Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if we stayed on the West Coast. I think we should beat Philly. Philly, Jalen Hurts, he's unproven. Also, the Eagles have a new head coach. And I feel like on paper, we're definitely better than the Philadelphia Eagles. And week 3, Green Bay. Now, I feel like we can beat the Packers with or without Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, without Rodgers, it would probably be much easier. But, in the past, we've been able to establish, the line of scrimmage against the Packers. We've been able to run the ball effectively. And when we do that, and then also we get the Packers in 3-and-out situations and we get the ball back. Usually if we get a 1 or 2 touchdown lead on the Packers, there's not much fight in them. Usually we're able to just run the ball. It's effectively running the clock out, and the Packers just can't get back. So I think that happened again. I think we should definitely beat the Packers week 3. Then week 4 against Seattle, close game. I think Seattle may have a slight edge over us. So if you're keeping count through the first 4 weeks, the Niners should be 3-1. That's what I'm thinking. Through the first 4 weeks of the season, Niners should be 3-1. Looks like Raul Talk Sports says he agreed, most likely on my point about the division being very difficult, and those will probably be 6 of the toughest games we'll have all year. Steven is responding to that. Derpy Boy he says Buckner gets a chance at revenge for being traded on week 7, and it's prime time. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, Buckner shows up, shows out. I'm sure he will have a lot of motivation going up against us in week 7. And that'll be an interesting matchup because I believe our bye week is in week 6. So the Niners will have a week to rest, and then we'll also have more time to prepare for the Colts, which will definitely benefit us. And then also it'll be, we'll have a week off, and then we'll have time to prepare, and then we play the Colts. So we'll be well rested, ready to go, and that should definitely be a win for the Niners against the Colts. But I can't wait for that game. Buggin', I appreciate you coming to the streams. First time I seen you on. What's good? He says, do you think Tua the first time I see this before, this is interesting. He says, do you think Tua turned the ball over will play lights out or just average this year? I mean, for his sake and Dolphins fans, I hope he plays better this year. I think the Dolphins, who did they get in the first round of the draft? I don't even remember who they got. I think, they traded down, of course, with the Niners. I don't remember who they got, but, for Dolphins' sake, obviously he should play better. It'll be another year in the NFL. He should be more comfortable with the playbook. And, the Finns, they need to run the ball. I think that will definitely help Tua get comfortable, run the ball, have Tua work off of play action passing. And that'll definitely help the Finns. But I don't know the Finns schedule. I don't know that much about the Finns, but, for their sake, hopefully Tua plays much better. But that's a funny that's a funny nickname. Tua turned the ball over. That's funny. Let's see. Raul says he thinks Tua will be decent. Yeah, he'll be solid. He had some solid games last year, and then he had some games. I believe he got benched twice. But I think part of the reason is because, let's be real, I don't know how you guys feel, but Fitzpatrick never should have got benched. He should have started the whole season. The team clearly was better when Fitzpatrick was in the game. And I feel like that's part of the reason Tua got benched, because, they had someone else behind Tua who was playing better, So I think that's part of the reason why he got benched. Let's see, Derpy Boy, in response to Steven, he says, honestly, I wanted to keep him because he's always been a great part of our D-line. And I agree. I think a lot of Niner fans would definitely agree with that statement, Derpy. Keeping DeForest over extending Armstead. Armstead, obviously he balled out the Super Bowl year. And what do you know it? It was a contract year. Funny how that works out. But, Armstead, if you look at his first 4 years, or I should say first 3 years with the team for a first-round pick, it was, he showed that there's definitely room for him to grow. And, he definitely needed to play better. And he definitely did that during the Super Bowl year. And it looked like DeForest Buckner he had a salary figure in mind that the Niners didn't want to pay. and that's why we traded him to Indy. But there's no doubt, DeForest is obviously better than Eric. But hopefully Armstead can bounce back this year. Let's see. Corey says, how do Tim Tebow wait? I don't know his weight. To play tight end in the NFL, you figure he would have to be at least 240. Maybe 235 at the lowest. So maybe between 235, 255, somewhere there. Because he's never blocked defensive linemen. I mean, that's what Tim Tebow got to do at the tight end position. He's going to have to block edge rushers. So we'll see how he does. But it's interesting that he's been out of the league 6 years, and he gets an opportunity. And I guess we'll see if he makes the most of it. I'd be surprised, though, if he made the 50-man roster. So it looks like Corey Davis coming in with the schedule prediction. I appreciate you. He says he thinks the Niners will be 12-5 this year. And that's exactly where I have them at. I have them at 12-5 and definitely contending for the NFC West division title. That's for sure. Looks like Niners Ultimate Report says football versus baseball, no comparison. NFL prospects are hit and miss, NFL prospects are hit and miss, no minors. Baseball players don't need minors. Ken Griffey was 18 in the pro. AAA is not for draft players. It's also for MLB players. Well, Ken Griffey Jr., that's great that you mentioned his name, but Ken Griffey Jr. is a legend. Ken Griffey Jr. is a Hall of Famer. You can't really compare Ken Griffey Jr. being able to go into the pros at 18 to like your average baseball player. I mean, it's just not a good comparison. It's like saying, oh, well, LeBron James went to the NBA at 18, so that means every other high school player should do that, but should be able to do the same, but that just doesn't work like that. But my main point was that Trey hasn't played against the top level competition. So to just expect him to he hasn't played in 2 years. So just expect him to come into camp. Oh, he looks good, going up against 7-on-7, no pass rush, and then just throwing him into the NFL. I don't think that'd be a wise idea. But let's see how Trey does, in the preseason games. We'll see. He might start some games. So if he starts some games, maybe he'll go up against, the starters of other teams. So I'm intrigued by that. I can't wait to see what he does against NFL talent. But that was basically my comparison, skipping levels, going up to different levels and expecting the same result. That's very optimistic. I would say that's very optimistic, but most likely it doesn't happen. Let's see. Get back to these comments. Raul. Let's see. He says, I don't understand how Justin Houston hasn't been signed yet. I don't get it either, Raul. I mean, Justin Houston, he was a beast with the Kansas City Chiefs for many years. He signed with the Indianapolis Colts. He played every game, didn't miss one game. I believe he had 19 sacks in 2 seasons. So clearly he can still get after the quarterback. I don't know if he's holding out maybe for more money. He is up there in age. I believe he's in his early 30s. So he may want to get like that last big contract. That could be, an option of why Houston is waiting. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't been signed. Ryan Kerrigan is still out there. But yeah, I guess those are guys that'll be signed a little bit later on this year. Looks like Steven says he has the Niners going 12-5. All right. I think you're the third person that said the Niners will probably go 12-5. I think one other person said 11-6. So it seems like everyone agrees that the Niners will definitely be a playoff team. And I'd agree with that. Going back to the schedule, week 5 at the Arizona Cardinals, I think that'll definitely be a win. And that win will give us a lot of momentum going into the bye week. So through the first 6 weeks of the season, I feel like the Niners should be 4-1. And then we play week 7 against the Colts. I think we should beat the Colts. And then also we play week 8 at Chi-Town, Chicago Bears, the Windy City. And that'll be an interesting matchup because Justin Fields could be starting. I'd be surprised if he doesn't start. I mean, we know Andy Dalton isn't the future. And, lately Andy Dalton, he played okay with the Cowboys. But I want to see, it'd be interesting to see if Justin Fields is playing by week 8. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, barring injury. So after the first 8 weeks of the season, we would be at 6-1. And then we would move on to week 9 against Arizona. But let's get back into these comments. Looks like OYG says, I'd have to go with Fred Warner. Okay, as your favorite player. I dig it. And hopefully Fred Warner gets re-signed this year. I mean, Fred Warner has definitely proven he is the best middle linebacker in the NFL. I'm not sure what the Niners are waiting on. I don't know if it's salary cap, or maybe they want to wait to the end of next year, or maybe it'll happen in preseason. I don't know. But, yeah, we definitely need to get Fred Warner signed for sure. Looks like Niners Nation says, if he's still a free agent, I wouldn't mind having Melvin Ingram. That's a good point about Melvin Ingram. I'm not sure if he's still a free agent. I can look it up real quick. Let's see. Melvin Ingram. Because I know he had, obviously, an excellent career with the LA Superchargers. Let's see. It looks like Melvin, last year he did play for the Chargers. He's 31 years old. Last year he only played 7 games. And he had no sacks last year. So I don't know. Maybe it was just bad luck last year, but he didn't have any sacks last year. That's Melvin Ingram, and he played 7 games. So that's definitely not good, but maybe a change of scenery would help. And it looks like, it looks like Melvin Ingram is still a free agent as well. Joe Griffin, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream. Joe says this is his first time tuning in. Let's go Niners. That's right. I appreciate you coming through. And make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the stream. Also subscribe to Jay in the Bay if you haven't already. I appreciate your support, Joe. Hope to see you on the next stream. OYG looks like on offense, he says he's got to stick with his boy, George Kittle, the best tight end in the NFL. And I can't wait to see George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Raheem Mostert, and the 49ers backfield has definitely reloaded. I thought before the draft that the running back room was pretty full, but, Shanahan and Lynch said, hey, we want to make this a priority. We want to continue to be excellent at the running back room, and they definitely did that by drafting Sermon and Mitchell in the draft, also picking up Wayne Gallman in free agency. So the running back room is definitely primed to play pretty well behind a revamped offensive line as well. So I'm looking forward to it. And Raul says this game goes either way. Yeah, those Seahawks games are tough, and I feel like there is no weak opponent in our division. Yeah, I don't feel like there's a weak opponent in the division. The Rams are stacked. Their defense is top notch, and they upgraded the quarterback position with Matt Stafford. Seahawks with Russell Wilson, they're always going to be a problem, and they also got better at pass rusher with Kerry Hyder Jr. and also with Carlos Dunlap. And they still got Bobby Wagner. He looked pretty damn good last year against us, so he still got it. All right, we got another prediction. 49ers Nation says we'll probably go 11-6 and 12-5. Yep, those have been the two most. Those have been the two most records that I've seen so far from everyone in the stream. A lot of people have been saying 12-5 or 11-6, and yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, most likely, I don't wish this, of course, but the game is a physical sport. We all know that, and injuries are part of the game. So, there are going to be some injuries on the team for sure. Just hopefully it's not long term. So, and 11-6 could still, we could still be a playoff team for sure with that record. Looks like Raul says Packers are a massive wild card because of the Rodgers stuff. I know, right? I mean, it's almost like I heard that in Vegas, they took down the win-loss odds for the Packers because, They don't know if obviously if Rodgers is there, they're a 10, 11, 12 winning team that year, of course. But without Rodgers and the uncertainty, it's just, we don't know what's going on. I heard, of course, Denver's interested. I've heard the Raiders are interested. So we'll see how that plays out. And yeah, that game is definitely interesting. 49ers Nation says, okay, I already read that one. Let's see. Raul, okay. Looks like Steven says the Titans play the Dolphins after the 49ers. Okay. And Travis says, thoughts on Daniel Jones and my New York Giants upcoming third season. Well, Daniel Jones has a lot to prove. And, the Giants did get better offensively. And also you're going to have a healthy Saquon Barkley back. And the Giants also got better defensively. So I think the Giants are definitely primed for an NFC East battle. I think, you can't rule out the Cowboys. Dak is coming back. The Cowboys defense is so. I mean, they were terrible last year, so I guess they can't get worse, right? I mean, they got to get at least a little bit better. And then, of course, you got Washington football team that got one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. So maybe the Giants go 9-8, maybe 10-7 on the high end. But I guess we'll see. Because that's going to be an interesting division too. I think it's wide open. Looks like Steven's responding to Travis. He says, you mean the team that gave Chicago Bears Justin Fields on a silver platter? Yeah, that's funny. Chicago Bears, they might have gotten their franchise quarterback. We'll see. G-Rod, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, what's good, my brother? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Leave your okay. It looks like you left your prediction in the comments. I just got to get down to it. I appreciate everyone in the comments section. I appreciate you rocking with your boy. And it looks like Travis says, yeah, sadly. Yep, just gave it to him on a silver platter, That's funny. Steven is responding to Raul. He says, I think we may have to wait till June 1st to find out. Okay. Yeah, June 1st, I believe, is cut day. So we'll see, what happens. I don't know if the Niners have any candidates for cut day. I don't think they would cut Jimmy G. I think that would be crazy to do that. Unless Shanahan thinks that, no, I don't think he's going to do that. But yeah, we'll see what happens on cut day if the Niners cut any players. Snack says, who was your favorite past Niner on offense and defensive side? Oh, it's definitely Terrell Owens. Just the passion he brought to the game of football, to the Niners. Hell of a receiver, Hall of Fame talent. It's definitely Terrell Owens on the offensive side. Defensive side, I would probably say Bryant Young. He's kind of underrated, but he won, Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was on that Super Bowl winning team, and Bryant Young was a hell of a 49er. Looks like G-Rod says preseason will definitely give us a better idea where he's at his play. No, exactly. And if he struggles in preseason, I'm not going to be surprised because, well, he hasn't played football in 2 years. He didn't play, at one of the top schools in college. He wasn't playing against, elite defensive talent. And there's a clear difference between the college game and the pros. The speed of the game is totally different. There's going to be defenses he hasn't seen. There's going to be speed on the defensive side of the ball he hasn't seen. In high school and college, he was the best athlete, at his position at his school. He was the fastest player on the field. Now in the NFL, there's not going to be a disparity of talent and speed and athleticism. It's just not going to happen. There's a difference. There's a reason why it's like the NFL is like the top 1% of the field. Like most people can't play in the NFL. Newsflash. Like there's a difference. There's a huge difference. So that's why, just take it easy with Trey. We don't need to rush him in there. But yeah, I can't wait. This is one of, the first season's in a long time, but I'm very excited to see preseason. Obviously he can look good 7-on-7. He can look good in training camp, but I want to see when the real games start. That's what I want to see. Last Second Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Uh-oh. Look like Last Second Sports, he has the highest win total prediction for the 49ers schedule. So he has 13 wins, 4 losses. And he says the 4 losses are to the Cards, Seahawks, Titans, and Colts. Now, I agree with you. 3 out of 4 of those teams, I think against the Colts, will be coming off of a bye, will be fresh. Shanahan and the coaching staff will have extra time to prepare for the Colts. And I think we'll definitely be ready for that game. I believe the Colts game will be a home game, prime time. And so I can't wait for that game. But yeah, I think we'll beat the Colts. But yeah, those other 3 games that you mentioned, I think those will definitely be a few of our losses. 49ers Ultimate Report. He says, Jay, you're missing my point. Trey needs to develop. I agree with you. You said that baseball players need to play in single A to double A to triple A. That's not true. That's all I'm saying. No, I respect your opinion. I'm basing it on the average player. The average player cannot go from high school baseball to Major League Baseball. That's rare. You just don't see that. Only the top 1%, as you mentioned, Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey, there is not a Ken Griffey Jr. on every team in Major League Baseball. I can guarantee you that. So the average player has to go from single A, double A, triple A, then to the majors. That's how most players' talent, rises. There are a few that can go from high school to college and then maybe to pros, but it's pretty rare. You'd have to agree that most players, that's how they progress. Single A, double A, triple A. Just like you could look at most basketball players, they go from high school to college, then to the pros, and then they might not even be that good in the pros, or they could excel. But it's pretty rare that a player like Ken Griffey Jr., as you mentioned, one of the greatest baseball players ever, Hall of Famer, you can't compare him to the average player. You just can't do that. Let's see. Derpy Boy says he got to go. I appreciate you coming through, Derpy. Appreciate you coming through, and I'll see you in the next stream. The Sports Star, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Leave a schedule prediction, or I should say a win-loss record prediction of the Niners. Let me know what you think the schedule, and let me know how many wins and losses you think the Niners will have this season. And I think the Niners will go 12-5 this season. Looks like Corey Davis says, do you think the Niners should re-sign Richard Sherman? I feel at this stage of Sherman's career, he can't play corner anymore. Because you can't just limit the defense to zone coverage. You have to switch it up. And some downs you got to play man, some downs you got to play zone. But at this stage of his career, I just don't think he can play corner at an elite level anymore. Now, safety, I think he's definitely smart enough to play safety. There have been plenty of corners in the NFL who have transitioned from corner, who have played excellent at the corner position, and then who have excelled at the safety position, like Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson. Those are 2 names that come to mind. But our secondary is, it's solidified. There's depth at the safety position, so I don't know if Richard Sherman would welcome, hey, you can sign with the Niners, but you're going to have to compete for a position. I don't know if Richard Sherman would want to do that. So I would say most likely not. I don't think we'll re-sign Sherman. Now, if the 49ers did sign Sherman, I wouldn't be mad. I just don't think there's a role for him, on the team. That's what I don't think. But no doubt, Sherman's Hall of Famer, a future Hall of Famer, one of the best corners easily of the last, 2 decades. And his legacy is definitely he definitely has paved his legacy for sure with the Legion of Boom and then with the 49ers. But I think Richard Sherman will most likely sign with another team. Do you want the Niners to re-sign Richard Sherman? Let me know, Corey. Let me know in the comments. Let's see. Fast Sports Simulation. Just subscribe. I appreciate your subscription, man. Appreciate you joining the stream. Thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. And going back to the schedule, I last left off week 8 at the Chicago Bears. I think that'll definitely be a win. Week 9 versus the Arizona Cardinals at home. I think that'll be a loss. Week 10 against the LA Rams. I think that'll be a win. Week 11 at Jags. I mean, do I even have to say it? Of course, it's going to be a win. Week 12 against the Minnesota Vikings. I think that'll be a win. So definitely from week 9 to week 12, I think we'll only lose one of those 4 games. And we're moving closer and closer to the last, let's say, 5 weeks of the season. The Sports Star says Trey was good, but he needs to sit a season or 2. I would agree. And the reason I would agree is because, the 49ers are still a contending team. We're not a rebuilding franchise. If we were the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd be like, oh, yeah, put Trey in. The expectations aren't to, go to the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl. But with this team, I feel those are accurate expectations to go on a deep playoff run. And most rookie quarterbacks don't lead teams deep in the playoffs. It's rare that it happens. And we already have someone who's played at the highest level in Jimmy G. So I think, unless Trey outperforms Jimmy G in every level of training camp preseason, then okay, prove me wrong. But, I feel like Jimmy should start the season. Trey should learn the playbook and make the most of his opportunity when it comes to him. Let's see. G-Rod says, yeah, I think 12-5 is a pretty realistic guess for this season if we don't get decimated by injuries like last year. No, I totally agree. And that's going to be, the theme of this year. Hopefully we don't. Well, I don't think we play. Let's see. We don't play the New York Jets or the New York Giants this year. So that's a plus, right, Faithful? We're not going to be playing in their stadiums this year, because, of course, that's the stadium where, Bosa got hurt. Solomon Thomas got hurt. I believe Jimmy got hurt, against the Jets as well. So, that stadium is, it's like bad juju. It's not good to the 49ers. Unfortunately, we don't play either one of those teams this year. See, D-Rod says the O-line should definitely be much better due to some key signings. No, I agree. We had to bring the big silver back. We had to bring Trent Williams back. He's highest paid left tackle in the NFL. We signed Alex Mack, and Alex Mack was coming off of one of his worst seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, but I think he'll do better, surrounded by better talent, along the offensive line. He'll be back under Kyle Shanahan. He already knows the system. And, the 49ers are a contending team. The expectations are high. So I like the signings. And then also, of course, we drafted the offensive linemen, Jalen Moore and Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks was drafted pretty high. He was drafted in the 2nd round. The Niners, traded down and then I think traded back up to get him. So, he could be in a training camp battle with Daniel Brunskill at that right guard spot. So that'll be intriguing to see who wins that position battle. And then, McGlinchey had a down year last year, but hopefully he can play, he'll play better this year. Because we did sign a 5th-year option for McGlinchey, so he'll definitely be a Niner for next year, but we'll see what happens, next year. And we'll see if he continues to be a member of the 49ers. 49ers Nation says he'll go with Ayuk on offense and Warner on defense. All right, same here. Looks like Joe Griffin Joe Griffin is very optimistic. He's saying, nah, man, the 49ers going 13-4, baby. Revenge Tour 2021. All right. I love your optimism, man. Let's see. G-Rod says, we also have history of injuries in training camp in recent years. We can't have that this year. Yeah. We've definitely had injuries at the wide receiver position. I feel like expectations are really high for Jalen Hurd. He's missed back-to-back seasons with season-ending injuries with the back injury and then the torn ACL last year. Hopefully he comes into camp, he can compete because he's probably the best option for that third wide receiver, Jalen Hurd. And I noticed in minicamp this weekend, we brought in, what was his name? Marquise Lee. We brought in Marquise Lee, a veteran wide receiver, played most of his career with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll see. I haven't heard that we signed him, but he could be a good player to bring in to the 49ers. He's a veteran playmaker, and this offense took off when we picked up Emmanuel Sanders from the Broncos in the Super Bowl year. So we'll see. Hopefully he impresses the 49ers coaching staff. And going back to the schedule, week 13 at Seattle, I think that's going to be a loss. Week 14 at the Bengals, that should definitely be a win. Week 15, home against the Falcons, that should be a win. Week 16, Thursday night game, short week. I believe that's like 2 days before Christmas Day. I think that'll be a loss in Tennessee. Week 17 versus the Houston Texans, that should be a win. And then week 18 at LA Rams in SoFi Stadium, I think that will be a loss. But based on my prediction, we would have a 12-5 record. That should definitely contend for NFC West champions. And that's definitely a playoff team. So that's my prediction, 12-5. Poppy Pablo Triple X, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. And he says, what's up, Jay and the Bay? Niners. All right. Looks like Bryce says, what did you say, dude? He says, did you cuss? I don't think so. Let me know. I don't think so. Let's see. Bryce also says, if you did, then bye. Okay. 49ers Ultimate Report says, what Jerry Rice, Jay, he is one of favorite 49ers players. Yeah, Jerry Rice is definitely the GOAT. But that's cool that he's definitely, he's one of the legends of the 49ers, and I can dig it that he's definitely your favorite 49ers. And I love how Jerry Rice is still involved with the organization. I think that's pretty cool. Like he comes to the games, he's cheering on the Niners. He does interviews talking about the Niners. So that's pretty cool that he's still involved with the organization. So Redder folk, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Let's see. G-Rod says Roger sat for a couple of years just saying. You got an excellent point there, G-Rod. Brett Favre, Hall of Famer. The Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Brett Favre wasn't happy with that. And, Aaron Rodgers sat, I believe, 2 or 3 years behind Brett Favre. Now, obviously, I'm not saying Jimmy G is at the level of Brett Favre. I'm not saying that. But, he's going to have, in order for him to start week 1, barring injury, he's going to have to be superior at every level, better than Jimmy G. I just don't. If they're both the same, I think you start Jimmy G. You give Jimmy G the opportunity to start. Now, keep in mind, you're showcasing Jimmy G as well. At the end of the offseason, if Jimmy G leads the 49ers to the playoffs, let's say not to the Super Bowl, let's just say to the playoffs, we win one playoff game and we lose the next, there will be teams vying for Jimmy G's services. You can rest assured that that's definitely going to happen, that the Niners would love to showcase Jimmy G. In the best case scenario, let's say Trey plays sparingly, like in a Taysom Hill role this season, but Jimmy G leads us to the playoffs. We win a few games, and then the Niners can move off of Jimmy G's contract in the off season and get some draft compensation. Like that would be a perfect, for a 49 situation, and that'd be perfect for Jimmy G. If Jimmy G doesn't ball out this year, do you think another team would trade any any draft capital for Jimmy G? Anything significant like a first, second, or third round pick? No, I don't. If Jimmy G doesn't ball out, there's no team that's going to say, "Hey, we want Jimmy G to be our starting quarterback." I just don't see it. So a lot is riding on this season for Jimmy G as well. So I think that's why I say I think he's going to come in with the fire lit under him, and he's going to want to prove everyone that he's still a starting quarterback in the NFL. Just like Redder says, the Steelers have the toughest schedule in the league. Yeah, I heard about that. I think the Steelers and the Ravens have a pretty tough schedule. And I think they were saying that the Niners have like the 19th toughest schedule in the NFL. Yeah, because when you look at our schedule, there's definitely teams that we're just more talented than that we should definitely beat. Like the Texans, the Falcons, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Lions, the Eagles. Those are 6 teams right off the bat. I'm like, okay, we're more talented than we should be able to beat. Also, you could put the Bears on there. So that's 7 teams. And then you figure we need 5 more wins. So the division is obviously going to be tough. I think those are going to be some of our toughest games. That's going to be in division. And I can't wait for those games. It looks like Joe says it's not the college, it's the determination the player has inside. No, I totally agree. The work now begins for NFL players. Look at Jamarcus Russell. He was lighting the world on fire at LSU, but he didn't want to put the work in at the NFL level, and he was, shortly out the league, and no team wanted to sign him. So the work definitely begins now. And Trey Lance seems mature. He seems like he's up for the challenge. It seems like he's excited to learn the playbook. He's excited to practice with the guys. So I'm definitely excited for Trey. But that's part of his resume. Part of his resume is that he played, he didn't play against the upper echelon talent in college. So, unfortunately, it's kind of used against him. Because that's part of his resume, but he can put all that to rest once the games start. Looks like 49ers Ultimate Report, John Jay is giving his prediction. Looks like he's going to predict between 10 to 13 wins. And speaking of John Jay, 49ers Ultimate Report, keep doing your thing, man. Me and the 49ers Ultimate Report will be doing a live show tomorrow on John Jay's channel, 49ers Ultimate Report. Make sure you guys check out his channel. If you like the content, leave a like, subscribe. He talks about, y'all see it, the red and gold, faithful. And so I'll be on his show tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And if you're able, come through. We'll be talking about the 49ers schedule and Trey Lance and all that jazz. So make sure you guys come through tomorrow. And G-Rod says, I feel like we were good without Sherman. His level of play just ain't there anymore. All due respect. Yeah, I would have to agree. I'm sure you feel, G-Rod, that he's a future Hall of Famer, one of the best corners to ever play. But yeah, he's lost a few steps. And then also with the injuries he's had, that hasn't helped either. He had the calf injury last year. He missed 10, 11 games. Then the year before that, he had the torn Achilles. Well, he had the torn Achilles in Seattle, but those are 2 tough injuries to come back from: the Achilles and the torn ACL. Or excuse me, the Achilles and then the calf injury. So those are definitely tough injuries to overcome. And obviously, as you get older, harder and harder to come back from those type of injuries. So looks like Redder's prediction for the 49ers is 11-6. All right, that's not bad. That's a solid prediction. No one has predicted that the 49ers will have under 11 wins. So obviously we all feel that the 49ers have adequate talent on both sides of the ball, excellent coaching, and we're primed to have a bounce back season. It's like Okay, let's go to. It's like Bryce says, I think the Packers go 14-3 or 13-4. The Cowboys 10-7. He said 49ers 1-16. But no, then he says psych 12-5. Yeah. I would say 12-5. I'd be surprised if the Packers go 14-3. I guess obviously you're assuming that Rodgers continues to stay on the team, but we'll see what happens. And the Cowboys going 10-7, we'll see. They definitely have talent on the offensive side of the ball. There's no doubt about that. G-Rod says we're win now team with the players we currently have. Exactly. I definitely agree with that. And I think Lynch kind of proved that by signing a lot of players to 1-year deals. It's kind of like the last year we're bringing the band back together with, re-signing Jason Verrett to a 1-year deal. I thought for sure he would try to cash in on getting a long-term extension. But it also could be because teams were spending less money. There weren't that many long-term contract extensions this offseason. Obviously, Trent Williams broke the bank. But a lot of players just signed 1-year deals to try to maybe cash in next year. But, the Niners brought in a lot of players on 1-year deals. Brought K'Wan back, Jason Verrett, Jaquiski Tart, Tavon Wilson, Arden Key, Maurice Hurst, Zach Kerr, like a lot of players and a lot of depth players that we're bringing in to solidify the team. But yeah, I think Lynch and Shanahan have done an excellent job with adding talent to the team. Looks like Redder says Trey Sermon going to be a beast for you, just not this year due to all the others. Yeah, we'll see what happens. This is definitely a crowded running back room, and I thought it was crowded before the draft. I definitely thought the running back room was crowded before the draft. So I was surprised we took a running back so high, But I think it was clear that where we drafted Sermon at, Lynch thought it was excellent value for getting a running back, in the third round of the draft. So he felt like he was a can't miss player at that spot. And, our strength is running the rock, faithful. That's what Shanahan wants to do. He wants to run the rock. He wants to control the time of possession. Offensive linemen love to run the ball. They love to be physical at the point of attack in the trenches. And, the Niners do well when running the ball, controlling the game, limiting the opponent's offensive possessions. And I think that's where the Niners shine. Looks like Redder says Lee was decent. He might be the third wide receiver. Yeah, Marquise Lee. That's what, he could definitely compete with Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd has all the ability. He just got to be able to stay on the field. And Marquise Lee, he's a veteran playmaker. He's a professional receiver, knows how to run routes, knows how to get open. And yeah, I think he would definitely be a nice fit. I'm surprised the Niners haven't, offered him a contract yet, but I guess we'll see what happens. Tommy Huxley, what's good? Thanks for coming into the stream. He says the Cowboys are going to suck as usual. That's foolish to think otherwise. Yeah, they're definitely, they got talent offensively, but, I haven't defense. They lack a lot, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's for sure. That's like Redder says, did he sign? I think you're talking about Marcus Lee. I don't think so. Let me double check real quick. Let's see if he... Haven't heard anything because I know he worked out with us in our rookie minicamp on Friday. So it looks like the latest news is he's just working out with the Niners, Marquise Lee. He has not signed the contract yet, so we'll see what happens. D-Rod says, what's up with Travis Benjamin? Don't we still have him? If so, he's a big threat. Yeah, we still have Travis Benjamin. I'm not sure why he didn't play last year. It might have been he may have opted out due to COVID. I'm not 100% sure on that, but Travis Benjamin was definitely good with the Chargers. But yeah, he did not play last year, so it could have been because of COVID. He might have opted out. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Travis Benjamin does. He could be the third wide receiver. I mean, we definitely have people in the building who could fulfill that role, but I just feel like Hurd is unproven, Jennings is unproven, Travis Benjamin, what does he have left? Mohamed Sanu, what does he have left? We got River Craycraft, but he hasn't been exciting to me when he's on the field. He hasn't made plays, so I think we definitely need a veteran playmaker. But that could be Austin Walter Jr., the undrafted free agent we signed. So there definitely will be a lot of competition in the wide receiver room. That's for sure. Enjoy my world. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Congratulations, Enjoy My World, on getting 1,000 subscribers. Hot diggity dog. That's amazing. Enjoy My World. Keep doing what you're doing. And hopefully I'll be there 1K, sometime this year. But big ups to you. Excellent job. Get that 1,000 subscribers. Looks like Bryce said maybe he was hearing wrong. Yeah. I think you were hearing wrong. I keep it professional on the stream, Bryce. Looks like Buggin says, what are you drinking and how? Buggin says, what are you drinking and how is it not running out? That's funny. Just got a little bit of water in my cup. Just gotta stay hydrated, take a few sips every now and then. Looks like Joe says his favorite Niner is John Taylor. John Taylor made Jerry Rice look good. Interesting. Wow. First time I've heard that before. Throwing a little shade to old Jerry Rice. John Taylor was a beast. Definitely. Him and Jerry Rice made a great 1-2 tandem. That's for sure. V-Rod said, plus keep in mind that Trey's athleticism is huge and dangerous with his legs, right? Yeah, and that's why the Niner Empire did not want to draft Mac Jones. Obviously there was tremendous upside with Justin Fields and Trey Lance with the ability, with their athleticism, and them being able to extend plays. I don't know about y'all, but it was very frustrating playing the Seahawks and Cardinals because you knew even if we got good pass rush on those two quarterbacks, what would they do? They would roll out to the left, roll out to the right, and then they would extend plays, and that would allow the receivers to get open, and they would convert first downs and continue the offensive drive. That was so annoying to watch, and I feel like now we got Trey Lance who can do the same thing. So I'm very excited to see his growth. I can't wait for preseason to start. And, speaking of, we had the mini camp this weekend. It's Friday and I believe Sunday. I haven't seen any video or any pictures from today. So maybe today is closed off to the media. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Friday we saw, Trey Lance, completing some passes, and he looked pretty good, throwing passes. And he completed 20 of 24 passes. This is Trey Lance, and this was versus 7-on-7, and mainly his completions were screen passes and checkdowns. So we're starting at a low level, and making sure he's an accurate passer and things like that. But I was definitely excited to see the mini camp. Of course, Demadori Lenore, the corner, I believe from Oregon. Of course, he made that excellent play that everyone's been talking about, where he picks off a wide receiver, or picks off the quarterback, makes an excellent play on the ball. He showed excellent bumper run coverage skills. That was excellent. And he was going up against Austin Walter Jr., the undrafted free agent wide receiver. So that was cool to see in minicamp. I didn't see any really other players. I saw Trey Sermon. He looked good. And I heard that Elijah Mitchell caught some balls and he showed his speed. Elijah Mitchell, the running back we drafted in the 6th round, he ran like a 4.3 in the 40. So I want to see what he can do maybe on special teams, because we definitely have to get better than Jed McKinnon last year. That's for sure. Bryce Sports says, "What's good?" Yeah, I think you was bugging. You was bugging, Bryce. Let's see. Redder says, "I've never been that high on Lance, but I agree he'll be a good player for you." Yeah, I mean, he's got one of the, best play callers, offensive play designers in Kyle Shanahan. He's surrounded, Trey Lance is, by a wealth of talent on the offensive line, the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs. Um, you know, I said this before the draft, any rookie quarterback would want to be drafted by the 49ers based on the infrastructure we already have in place with the front office, with John Lynch, with Kyle Shanahan at head coach, with the talent we have on both sides of the ball. I think we're definitely in better situations than, Jacksonville, New York Jets, like Chicago Bears, like the Patriots. I think we're definitely in a better situation. And I think Trey Lance definitely will probably have the best career out of all the quarterbacks that were drafted. Looks like Joe says John Jay has great content. Shout out. Exactly. John Jay has excellent content. The 49er Ultimate Report. And we'll see you guys on the stream tomorrow. I'll be with John Jay on the 49 Ultimate Report YouTube channel at 5 p.m. Pacific. You guys come through, talk about the schedule, and we'll hear John Jay's perspective on things. So I'm excited for that show. It's like 49's Ultimate Report says, Joe Griffin, thanks for the kind words. Also, it's John Jay with no H. And Joe says, I'll definitely tune in again. My Niner brother at work, climbing these tanks, enjoying the show. Hey, I appreciate you, enjoying the show while you're at work. Hopefully I'm able to make your day a little bit better by you listening to some good old red and gold 49er talk, man. Let's see. Bryce says, can Rodgers leave on his own, or does the team have to trade him? That's an excellent question, Bryce. I'm not sure if Rodgers has a no trade clause in his contract. I don't know. Maybe someone can help us out in the chat. But yeah, if he has a no trade clause, then he would basically dictate where he gets traded. But no, Rodgers can't just walk. I mean, he can retire. He could do that, and he's definitely threatened to do that. But even if he retires, and let's say in a year or two he decides to come back, the Green Bay Packers will still own his rights, and they could either trade him or cut him at that point. But seems like it's a stalemate right now. We don't know if the Packers are intending on trading him. It seems like the Packers want to try to repair that relationship. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Looks like 49ers Nation says, I heard that Trey and Sherman played together in Florida, so hopefully they have good chemistry when they take the field. Yeah, I think they will. I think those, Trey, Brandon, Debo, Kittle, and Trey Lance are definitely the future of the team. And I'm excited to see him develop that rapport with his teammates. Looks like Bryce says, do you have any NASCAR cars? No NASCAR cars in my collection. Looks like Tommy says we're going to boat race them kitty cats week 1. Yeah, I think so too. Goff has not played well against the 49ers defense, and I think that will continue in Detroit. And I can't wait for that week 1 matchup. Looks like Bryce says his favorite Niner is Trey Lance. All right. Yeah, I can't wait to get some Trey Lance 49er gear. I'm definitely excited for the season, and I can't wait till week 1. I'm counting down the days. Looks like Redder says his favorite 49ers are Deebo Samuel and Javon Kinlaw because of South Carolina. All right. Seahawks Eddie, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. What record do you think your Seahawks will have this year? You know, the first 18-week season, 17 games. Let me know in them comments. Let me know what do you think the Seahawks record will be this year. Seahawks Eddie, I appreciate you coming through. Sports with LT, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, what do you think the Jags record will be? Wow. I haven't seen their schedule. I don't think they're a playoff team. Nah. I'd be surprised. Let's see, they're in the AFC South, so they're with the Colts, the Texans, obviously the Jaguars, and the Titans. So Titans, Colts, Jaguars, Texans. Okay. Yeah, I would say, you know, most likely the Colts will probably win that division, or it could be the Titans. It'll be a close race between the Colts and Titans. I don't think the Jags will be a playoff team this year. You know, maybe they'll win between 5 to 8 games this year, most likely. And we'll see how Trevor Lawrence does with Urban Meyer. It's like G-Rod says, the DB from Oregon looks like a young Sherman for real. Yeah. I mean, he definitely looked excellent in that one clip we saw of him. And hopefully he can keep it up. And yeah, I'm excited that we got, you know, an influx of young talent at the cornerback spot. You know, that's definitely a position of need going into this offseason. You know, because of the expiring contracts of Sherman, of K'Wan Williams, of Jason Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, Jaquiski Tart. Like there's a lot of uncertainty in the backfield. But I think we have 2 future corners with the organization now, and I'm excited to see them develop. Looks like Bryce says he doesn't think that Rodgers retires. Yeah, I'd be surprised by that. I would definitely be surprised if Rodgers retires. I mean, but you know, he's made a ton of money. He definitely don't need the money. And if he's really, you know, that upset with the Packers organization, I guess, you know, why not? I guess. But we'll see what comes to fruition because, you know, we're only in May. You know, there's still, you know, a lot of months to go. So we'll see what happens with that. Looks like Seahawks Eddie predicts the Seattle Seahawks will be 13-4. All right. That's very optimistic record, man. Very optimistic outlook. I see you got. I wonder, who do you think your 4 losses will be? That's interesting as well. Who do you think your 4 losses will be with the Seahawks? It looked like Bryce agrees with you. He thinks the Seattle Seahawks will go 13-4. All right. I can see that. I mean, it's going to be a very tough division. I think I would be surprised if the NFC West team had less than 10 wins this year. But we'll see what happens because we're going to be, you know, in some aggressive, just knock down, drag out games. Like, I can't wait. And it's going to be interesting to see how this division plays out. He says, what's your prediction on New York? Me 8-9. Which New York team? The Giants or the Jets? Let me know. Looks like Bryce says, how did you start liking football? Well, my dad played in college, and ever since I was young, I just remember always watching football. You know, the family would always gather around to watch football games. You know, my cousin, he played in the NFL. So yeah, football has always been around my family, and I love watching football. I love, you know, throwing the football. And I love talking about the Niners and the NFL in general. So yeah. How did you first start liking football? Let me know in the comment section. It's like Joe says, do you think our rookie corners are more physical than our current corners? I don't know yet. I think I would need I would need to see them in action a little bit more. I don't know if they're more physical or not. There's mini camp today. I haven't seen any tape of it. And then there's still OTAs coming in the next few weeks. So I guess we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they can at least match their intensity, because there's no doubt Richard Sherman was one of the most physical corners and definitely one of the most smartest corners that the NFL has seen. Looks like Tommy says Seahawks are going to be trash because they are trashed. Okay. I see you, Tommy. Let's see. Bryce says the New York Giants. Now, New York Giants, it's up to Daniel Jones, This is his third year. This is kind of like a make or break year for him. Saquon Barkley's coming back from the torn ACL he suffered last year. They also added more talent offensively and defensively. So if Daniel Jones plays good, they could definitely be a playoff team. Because I think they'll contend. I think Washington is kind of like the favorite because they had like the best defense, but we'll see what they do at the quarterback position. I know they got Fitzpatrick and they have Heineke, and we'll see who gets to start there. But, whoever the quarterback is, just don't turn the ball over, because you got an excellent defense. Rely on the running game. Still got Scary Terry, Logan Thomas. So I think it'll probably be between Washington, Giants, probably for that division title. And if Daniel Jones played well, I don't see why the Giants can't win at least, 9 to 10 games. Let's see. 49ers Ultimate Report says the healthy 49ers team can win 13 games. I could definitely see that. Looking at the schedule, there's definitely going to be some games we win that I'm like, okay, I thought we might lose that. And then there might be 1 or 2 games where I'm like, oh yeah, we should definitely win that game, but we lose it. So that's why I say 12-5, but I could see 13-4. Like if we win more games than I think we will within our division, obviously that record could come to fruition, but I guess we'll see. All I'm happy for is if we get into the playoffs and we try to get on a long playoff run. That's what I'm excited about. Looks like OYG says talk about corners would be if we picked up Eric Stokes. Okay. Is he a free agent? He's still available? Let me know. Looks like G-Rod says, do you think Seattle picks up our players to learn our schemes for when they play us? I mean, that's an interesting point. I think part of the reason is that they've seen those players up close and personal. They play us 2 times a year, so they already know those players' strengths and weaknesses. I think that's part of it. But yeah, I mean, they want to stick it to the Niners, the Seahawks do. They're like, okay, let's get, Kerry Hyder, for instance, was a free agent. He balled out last year. He had like a career year, and that's also a position of need for the Seahawks. They needed to upgrade their pass rush, and they did that with bringing in Kerry Hyder and also re-signing Carlos Dunlap. So that's part of it. They also signed Akello Witherspoon, corner, and that was definitely a position of need for the Niners because I believe they lost Shaquille Griffin, their corner. I think he signed with Jacksonville. So, and Akello Witherspoon, before he had that injury, he was playing pretty well. Since that 2019 season, he hasn't really been the same. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know what it is. He looked solid last year in a few games, but I would have been surprised if we had brought him back this year for sure. Joe Griffin looks like he can predict the future. He says, breaking news, Seahawks just lost in the first round of the playoffs. I ain't gonna lie. I was surprised that they lost to the Rams last year. You know, I definitely was surprised by that. At home, too. Seahawks Eddie says, Seahawks will split with the Rams, probably split with the Cardinals, Steelers, and likely the Packers. Green Bay is very questionable, right? I think it must be a typo. I don't see the Niners in there. I don't see the Niners in there as being one of the losses. What are you doing, Seahawks Eddie? What are you doing? Yeah, Green Bay is definitely questionable because you don't know what they're going to do with Aaron Rodgers. The saga continues. We don't know what's going to happen in that situation. But looks like you're pretty confident. Looks like you're pretty confident you're going to beat the Niners twice. Like, if me being real, being honest, if we got swept by a divisional opponent, I think most likely it would probably be the Seahawks. I just think with Russell Wilson, with DK, with Tyler Baldwin, you know, the weapons they have on offense, they would probably be the most likely team if that happened. But yeah, I mean, the Seahawks are going to be a tough matchup. Rams will be too, and the Cardinals. Just like G-Rod says, some Hawk fans call us scrubs. Really? That's very disrespectful. How do they figure that? That's ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's trash talk. But I can't wait. Can't wait for the season to start. I can't wait because I love the back and forth. It's funny. And I can't wait till game day. So our first division game this year will be week 4 at home against them good old Seahawks. I can't wait. Let's see. Bryce says he watched football in 2016 for no reason, but in 2017, my dad had a friend who was a big Packer fan, and he went to Green Bay and got me a hat and shirt. Since then, you've been a Packers fan. That's dope, man. That's dope. Yeah, I wonder, you know, what they're going to do with the Aaron Rodgers situation. It's crazy. I can't wait to see what happens. And if he does get traded, hopefully it's to a AFC opponent. Hopefully it's not. I don't think they would trade him in the NFC. I doubt that. Seahawks Eddie says, I can't sleep on San Francisco either. Yeah, like it's like I feel like our teams are so evenly matched. It's just honestly, it's almost like, well, who's going to be healthiest? Obviously, if a quarterback gets hurt, you know, the other team has an advantage, but we'll see. G-Rod says Hawk fans talk smack every year but choke out. So what do they have to defend? Just saying. Yeah, they haven't had, you know, the Seahawks haven't had much success since that Super Bowl game against the Patriots as far as the playoffs. I'm trying to think, have they won a playoff game since then? I'm not sure. But, you know, hey, the Seahawks, they love their team, just like the Niners. You know, we love our team, just like the Rams fans love their team. The Cardinals fans love their team. So, of course, you know, they're going to, you know, stick up for their team. So I expect nothing less from, you know, the opponent's fan bases. It's like Joe Griffin says, Pete Carroll, a.k.a. Mr. Burns. That's cow. Is Pete Carroll chewing on gum right now? I want to know. I wish we could see Pete Carroll right now. I'm sure he's chewing on that gum right now. Looks like Seahawks Eddie says, I ain't going to lie. 49ers always play the Seahawks tough. Yeah. I mean, ever since Russell Wilson was drafted by the Seahawks, it's just it's never an easy game. It's never a blowout. You know, it's always a tough, like whoever has the ball in the last possession of the game in the fourth quarter. Like it usually comes down to that, even when Harbaugh was here. Now, obviously, when Harbaugh left, you know, there was a small stretch of games or years where after Harbaugh left, the Seahawks were giving it to us. But since Shanahan has come back, or since Shanahan was hired, it's definitely been closer competition, that's for sure. It's like Tommy says, I'm more worried about the Lambs than the Seahawks, but all division games are tough. Yeah, because, you know, we know each other so well. We see each other 2 times a year. There's nothing that you can really surprise your opponent with. So yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I mean the opponents, they all know each other. There's no surprises, and they're always going to be tough. Give me 1 second. Let me check something. Okay. So it looks like Joe says Sea Turkey's offensive line is good for two things: no good and good for nothing. That's funny. I haven't heard that before. Now, the Seahawks offensive line, did get better this offseason. They traded for offensive guard Gabe Jackson from the Las Vegas Sin City Raiders. And Gabe Jackson, he's a pretty good guard. And that's one of the things that Russell Wilson wanted from the Seahawks. He wanted them to get better at the offensive line. And they definitely did, get better in that area. I'm not sure who their starting tackles are. Let's see who the starting left tackles, because obviously they're going to have to face Samsung, Eric Armstead, Bosa, Kinlaw, all those players. So let's see. So let's see the Seahawks. So it looks like at left tackle, the Seahawks, they still have Dwayne Brown. And then at right tackle, they have Brandon Shell. So they're solid up front. I feel like the Niners most likely have the best offensive line in the NFC West. That's for sure. Looks like Tommy says the Hawks beat the Beagles in 2019 in the wild card. Okay. But they haven't gone to the Super Bowl since, they decided to throw instead of run. So that, yeah, they haven't had that much success. And then Tommy says, yeah, in 2020, they had a first round exit against them good old LA Rams. Looks like Seahawks Eddie says, never sleep on Russell Wilson. You can't. Even if you have a lead on the Seahawks, it doesn't matter. Russell Wilson, it doesn't matter if you get pressure on him. He can run with the best. He can maneuver out the pocket to the left or to the right. He extend plays. That's why it's so frustrating to play against the Seahawks, because the guy, he's just a playmaker. He just makes plays. Last year, I don't know what happened at the end of the season. I know they had issues running the ball. And, every quarterback needs a balanced offensive attack. Usually quarterbacks play better when the defense doesn't know if they're going to run the ball or if they're going to pass the ball. And it seemed like later in the season, unfortunately, Chris Carson, he got injured, got banged up, and the Seahawks just couldn't run the ball. Looks like OYG says we have a crazy history with the Seahawks. They've always been a problem since they came to NFC West in 2002. All my uncles are old school diehard Seahawks fans, which always makes our game days lit. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, they have always been a problem since, and even when they came into the our division in 2002, I still remember, Sean Alexander. He was an excellent running back with the Seahawks. I want to say even Jerry Rice. I want to say he went to the Seahawks for like a year or less or something like that. But yeah, the Seahawks, and they had Matt Hasselbeck, who was decent. I remember Matt Hasselbeck when I don't know if you guys remember, but Matt Hasselbeck, I think they were in a playoff game against the Packers, and it went into overtime. And I think at the coin flip, Matt Hasselbeck said the Seahawks won the toss, and Matt Hasselbeck said, we want the ball and we're going to win the game or something like that. And then on the Seahawks offensive possession, he ends up throwing a pick six. I'll never forget that. So the Seahawks they've always been a problem. Joe Griffin says not better than ours. Looks like Seahawks Eddie says we just got to lock up Jamal Adams. I know what y'all waiting for. I mean, y'all gave up 2 first-round picks for him. What y'all waiting for? Looks like G-Rod says, seems like the Hawks struggle with stout defenses. You put the heat on Wilson and it's over. I think if you slow down the running game, I think that definitely makes the Seahawks offense one dimensional, and I think that's what definitely hurts the Hawks because Wilson can maneuver out the pocket. Looks like Seahawks Eddie says, got to go back to work. Glad I jumped on for a while. I appreciate you coming through, Seahawks Eddie. You always welcome. Any fan base is always welcome. I love to converse with the fans and love to talk about the NFL and, of course, that red and gold. But, yeah, man, appreciate you coming through. Joe Griffin says, I respect Russ and Bobby Wagner. You got to, because those are two of the best at their positions. And Bobby Wagner proved that he can still play. Just like G-Rod says, I don't know that Jamal has played up to his hype. I mean, he's definitely a better play. He's definitely, I should say, the Seahawks are definitely a better defensive team when Adams is out there. There's no doubt about that. He's a playmaker when he's on the field. He gets pressure on the quarterback. And, when offenses are facing the Seahawks, they have to account for, Bobby Wagner, and they also have to account for Jamal Adams. They have to know, okay, where's Jamal Adams at on the field? Is he up 20 yards away from the line of scrimmage? Is he at the line of scrimmage? So a quarterback definitely has to look out for Jamal Adams because he's definitely a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. Cortez Kennedy, yeah, he was definitely a monster for the Seahawks. That's for sure. Looks like Bryce says, got to go. Appreciate you coming through, Bryce. Good luck to your Packers in the future, but I appreciate you hopping on. Looks like Tommy says, can't say I'm going to miss Seahawks Eddie. That's funny. Yeah, Bobby Wagner, he's still a playmaker. Bobby Wagner was looking good against the Niners last year. Him and KJ Wright, they was looking pretty good against the Niners last year. That's for sure. Bobby Wagner's getting up there in age, but and Fred Warner, I feel like he's the best middle linebacker in the NFL. But respect to the Seahawks. They have talent, and they'll always be a problem as long as they got number 3 behind center. But I appreciate everyone for coming through to the stream. And I just wanted to hop on here, talk about the 49ers schedule. Once again, I think the 49ers will be 12-5 this year. And we'll definitely be on. I think we'll definitely have success in the playoffs. That's for sure. And yeah, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the mini camp. Obviously, no Super Bowls are won in the mini camp, but it was good to see Trey Lance out there. I believe he was 20 of 24 on passes, but they were all short passes, right? Like a few yards away from the line of scrimmage passes. But it was just good to see Trey in the red and gold, faithful. It was good to see him in the red and gold. It was good to see Sermon. Hopefully we can get some footage of the training camp, of the mini camp today. I haven't seen anything on YouTube, but hopefully we can see what was run today. It may have been closed to the public. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Looks like Tommy says 12-5. Definitely, I agree with that, my dude. Yep. Looks like Dro says, when are you coming back on? So I will be on tomorrow. Actually be on 2 shows tomorrow. I'm not sure if the first one is live though, but I know for sure I'll be on the 49ers Ultimate Report YouTube channel, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to talk about Trey Lance. We're going to talk a little bit more about the schedule and also hear John Jay's perspective on the 49ers schedule. And that'll be tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific on the 49ers Ultimate Report YouTube channel. As far as on my channel, of course, I'll still be doing the 49er update videos. I guess we'll see. I could do a show Tuesday night. I guess we'll see if there's any relevant 49er news to report. If not, I definitely want to continue my Sunday night 5 p.m. streams. But yeah, make sure you look out for me. YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out, Jay intheBay. Subscribe if you haven't already. IG, Twitter. Make sure you leave a thumbs up for the stream. Let's see. G-Rod says, will they allow fans at the practices this year? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. That I would definitely want to go to that. That would be pretty cool to go to. Watch the 49ers practice. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, as more and more people get vaccinated and more things open up, I would hope so, you know. Looks like Tommy says he called Grant Cohn out a little bit on the Cohn phone. Yeah, Grant Cohn, he tells it like it is, man. Looks like Joe Griffin says he'll be tuned in. I appreciate your support. Matt Navarro, what's good? You coming in a little bit late, but it's all good, man. I appreciate you hopping on. Let me know, what do you think the 49ers win-loss record will be this year? A lot of people in the chat were saying 12-5, and that's also what I think. I think the 49ers will go 12-5 this year. I believe a few people said 11-6, but let me know in them comments. Let me know what you think the 49ers record will be. And yeah, I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit, talk about minicamp, talk about the 49ers schedule. I'm excited for the primetime games. I believe they are, week 3 against Green Bay. That should be a win. Week 7 against the Colts, Sunday Night Football prime time. I think that should also be a win. Week 10 against the Rams, Monday Night Football. That should be a win. Week 13 at Seattle, Sunday Night Football. I think we'll lose that game. And then week 16 at Tennessee, a Thursday night game. I think that'll be a loss as well. But I think we'll still have a 12-5 record. It's like G-Rod says, I appreciate your respect and professionalism on this show. I appreciate the kind words, G-Rod. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming through to the stream. And I hope to see you on the next one, G-Rod. It's like Tommy says, you know who it is. You know who it is. It's your boy, Goat in the Bay. That's funny. But I think I'm going to sign off unless Matt gives me his prediction on the 49ers record. Let me know, Matt. But yeah, I think we'll be 12-5. Our 6 division games will be the toughest for sure. But I appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream. And I think I will be out, but everyone, yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm waiting for I'm waiting for Matt. Let me know what you think the record will be. But if not, you could always drop it off on one of my YouTube videos, Matt. Let me know, what do you think the 49ers record will be? But I appreciate everyone coming through, watching on the Jay intheBay YouTube channel. Also, everyone watching on the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure you guys check out the Spotlight Sports Network. They talk about sports on that channel as well. Looks like Joe says, can't wait for Matt 13-4. Okay. I guess we'll see. What comes to fruition. But I appreciate everyone coming through. I think I'll be signing off. I'll see y'all on the next one. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. See you on the next one.